my former students sitting over here. Hi, yes. Funny ladies, this is exciting. This is so exciting. Who here is from Prince Edward Island? Good. I hate those guys. I have family that live in Prince Edward Island, and bless her heart, I just, there's little things that they think they're so goddamn special. Don't they? They're just like just that stupid shit that they say, right? Like they're like, oh, like you'll be like, oh, the mosquitoes are bad this year. Oh, nothing like the mosquitoes on the island. It's Prince Edward Island, not the fucking Galapagos Islands. Or like, you know, when you come from away nonsense. Oh, she comes from away. I'm in Moncton. How can I be from away? We shop at the same Costco. How is that away? And have you seen, I live in Grand Barraswa. Do we have anybody that lives sort of along the 11 and the 15 there? You know when somebody from PEI is coming up behind you, they're just barreling. They're just, they need Costco and they need fucking Costco now. Why so fast? Was Anna Green Gables like that in real life? Was she just with her buggy going, get out of my way, Marilla? Ridiculous. I mean, Moncton people can drive fast too, don't get me wrong, right? Like, because when I moved here from Toronto, I was like, oh, Maritimers, you're such slow-paced moving people. No, not when you're behind the wheel. Good God, like, where are you going so fast? Gotta get to work. I hate my job. I gotta get home. I hate my family. And that circle of hell and Dieppe there. That's where you just get all your aggression out, don't you? I'm angry and I'm going to drive around that circle as fast as I possibly can. It's a traffic circle. It's not a slingshot. The poor geese. Ridiculous. Boys. Oh, God. Just the Maritimes are funny. Like, because I grew up in Nova Scotia, and you know, in my, yay! One person! Yay! She's not going to make fun of us!
Yes, she will.
I will. There's things like, you know, like who here like went away to work for years and then sort of came back to the Maritimes, or anybody? Quite a few of us that do that. There's things that we say that I did not notice that we say until I came home, right? you know, like a Sobeys bag is every plastic bag. That's my mom. My mom's over there in the corner. Mommy, yay! Yeah. You know, she's like, oh, you got a Sobeys bag? And I'm like, specifically? It must be a Sobeys bag. Nothing else will do. Or, oh, what a sin. What a sin. That doesn't mean that you're going to hell. It means somebody feels sorry for you. You know, oh, you have to go to that comedy show with Nikki Payne. What a sin. She's filthy. Filthy! And that's things I think back to, like, and I don't know if this is just like a maritime childhood thing or what, but like, because my dad's a Newfoundlander, so maybe it's like a Newfoundland thing, but do you have like oldie time photos where the people like almost seem like they're monsters? They look poor and angry because pictures were a big deal, right? So apparently you weren't allowed to smile back in the day. So the old ones, like the really old ones, where like you had to stand perfectly still, right? You're just like,
Black and white.
They look miserable. Like, they probably were. I mean, let's be honest. They were poor and miserable in the old country, and they came here and they were poor and miserable and cold. It's not like it's better if just, didn't have the boat fare to go back. They were trapped. That's basically our history. Oh, when did your family become trapped in Canada? Oh, 1851. It's just, and like really religious, but religious like in like the cleanliness thing. Like, do you have those stories, right, where it's like, my grandmother boiled the water and washed me raw. Like, that's not clean. Because that goes beyond clean to like infection. She boiled the water and she scrubbed me raw with a wire brush. That's psychotic. Apparently all my relatives were like psychotic pirates. I don't know what accent that is. Rub me raw. Just me. Good enough. Folks, I want you to bring all your energy tonight because these folks have been working on their sets for like 6 weeks now, right? They've been 6 weeks. They've been writing, and I've pulled any kind of fun that they thought stand-up comedy might be. I drained it from them by the 3rd week. So they've been working their butts off because comedy doesn't just happen, right? You don't just come out here and go, look at this, look at that. I mean, yes, that's how I paid my mortgage, but other people have to work very, very hard, and this is for some of them their very first time up on stage, right? So I'm not saying laugh at something that you don't think's funny, no, but when you do think something's funny, give it your all, you let them know that you appreciate all the work that they've been doing, right? Don't be judgmental pricks. Come on. Right? I know it's Tuesday. You've only had about 5 drinks, so you're not hammered yet. But let loose. Let it happen, right? Because you're learning, right? If you're a judgmental prick, you're going to look like a judgmental prick if you're out there just going, nah, I don't know. I tell a pretty good joke, right? Like, you're getting pay the money and join the course, right? Because you're learning, right? You wouldn't be like that if like a little kid's learning to walk. You wouldn't be sitting there in the living room going, my 8-year-old can fucking walk around that kid. Right? Like you wouldn't do that because you'd be an arsehole, right? So if you're sitting here with people that are trying to make you laugh and you're just like, nope, not doing it for me. Jerry Seinfeld's like, yes, Jerry Seinfeld's fucking better than all of us. He's Jerry Seinfeld. You wouldn't get to see Jerry Seinfeld free, so piss off. Exactly. You're learning their craft, right? You're learning your craft. So any pickles that might possibly be up your arsehole right now, just make sure that they are thoroughly removed because you wanna laugh and enjoy what these folks have put together. Folks, are you ready for your first act? Woo! Oh, folks, coming all the way. He was originally from the Mirror Machine. Now he's coming to you from Albert County. Put your hands together for Darryl Tozer.
Thank you. How about a big hand for Nikki? What a great start to the night, eh? If anybody's not happy, there's refunds at the door at the end. Just show your tickets. As Nikki said, I'm Darryl Tozer. Many of you may not know this about me, but I'm overweight. That's right. I'm an overweight guy trying to break it into comedy. The upside, there's been many ahead of me that broke into comedy and broke down that door for us overweight guys, to took out that stereotypical just skinny comedians. People like John Belushi, John Candy, Chris Farley. The downside, they're all dead. So I feel like I'm shortening my life expectancy up here tonight. Like I said, I'm overweight. I'm like that picture in that diet ad, the before shot. Do you ever wonder with those diet ads why they have to label the before and after? Are they scared people are going to get them confused? Or somebody's going to think the wrong way? I want to be like that guy. You know how you can tell when you're the overweight guy amongst your friends? You ever go for dinner and there's always like that one last piece of pie left or a piece of pizza or maybe some dessert? And they all look to you and they're like, Darryl, you eat it. It's just the principle of it all. You say no, but deep down inside you really want it.
It's true.
You know, as overweight guys, we'll lie to ourselves. 175. Or we'll go as far as like on applications, you know, like where you have to put your height in. I'll say 6'5", just so the weight looks a little more proportionate. I figure if Donald Trump can get away with it, so can I. Sometimes even as an overweight guy, we'll lie to the point that where we put our family's lives in danger. On a recent trip, we were down in Maine and we took in this water park. And if you can picture, this water park is like 5 flights of stairs high, so we get to the top, there's 4 of us, and here's the sign that says weight restriction. So I'm looking, there's my daughter, there's my son, there's my wife, and there's me, and I'm like, oh shit, we're over. So everything's going through your mind. You know, is the lifeguard going to say something? Are we going to get stuck? So you finally get on and we go and we shoot like a cannon. I swear to God, my heart stopped on the way down and we get to the bottom and my kids are like, again! And I was just like, go ahead, go ahead. So I'm approaching the big 50. Anybody hit 50 here?
No.
I find out as I'm getting older, I find things start to annoy me a little more. Do you ever go out for dinner and they bring your plate of food and there's that one thing on there you just can't stand? So you decide to send the plate back and you know damn well they just scrape it off. Because when they bring the plate back, the cream corn's still touching the potatoes. And I'm like, damn it, mother, I'm 49 years old and you're still putting cream corn on my plate. Another thing that annoys me too, I enjoy listening to the radio in the car, especially the news. But I find the radio starting to dumb it down for like stupid people. Like they'll say a score of a hockey game, Toronto 5, Florida 3, Toronto took that one. Or they'll say about a suicide bomber goes into a country, into a building and blew it up. And yet at the end they'll say the bomber died. Otherwise he's just the bomber. As I mentioned, I'm approaching the big 50 and I'm finding changes in my body. For example, I had to go to the glasses just so I can see you all. Actually, it's the cell phone on the arm wasn't getting long enough anymore. So with that, So with the glasses, I find it's got some advantages where I have a 50-inch TV and now it looks like a 65. Or I got a new name for somebody. Hey, Mr. Big. My kids are in the audience. Now there's a downside that my glasses make a thing every big. My wife sent me out for navel oranges the other night. I come home and she's like, damn, why'd you get tangerines? So another thing I find with the body, you know, as with the age, some things are starting to dangle a little more. I'm scared to get naked in front of the cat now, thinking he might think I'm a Christmas tree. So recently, my wonderful wife and I, here tonight, we celebrated our 25th anniversary. We got 2 kids, 4 pets, a house and a mortgage. Married for 25, and I still struggle with commitment. Just today alone, I plugged my iPhone into the computer, and you get that message pops up. you want to make iTunes your default player? And I'm like, no, I'm not ready. But yet there's that little spot where you can check off, don't ask me again. I'm scared to check that off in case I can't go back. So if you're putting this all together, I'm 49 years old, I'm overweight, married to my wonderful wife for 25 years, and I know what you're all thinking. How's the sex life? The sex life is great. The only thing is now, she wants to wear my glasses when we're having sex. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
I get more nervous for this than if I was like at a festival. Like if I was filming like TV, I'm less nervous than when I have like a student show. I woke up this morning and my gut, like right here, and I couldn't stop pooping. Like not diarrhea, but just pooping all the time. And I was like, and it's horrifying. But then the first student gets up and he does it so friggin' well that it's like, amazing! And it's just gonna keep on getting funny. This guy is the funniest realtor in Moncton, straight from the Cabela's Bargain Cave. Put your hands together for doing the hanging!
It's wet. This was the first lesson that she taught us. You have to grab it by the neck and then just put it to your mouth. As you can tell by my accent, I have no experience. So, as she mentioned, my name is Dylan. My dad's deaf, but like real deaf.
How deaf is he?
Like deaf. So, he was born in the 40s in Riley-Brook, New Brunswick. Back then, they really didn't have like technology invented, so we didn't have a hearing aid, and nobody knew sign language. So when you learn how to speak, it was by reading lips. So it's kind of hard to pronounce things properly when you can't hear how they're actually pronounced. It was fine for me growing up, except for when he looked at me and said, "You would die for Canacod, come get that!" Who? Canacod, you would die for Canacod, come get that! I don't know who can't. Yeah, you know Canacod. So like an hour into it, I'm like 5 years old by the way. Like an hour into it, I'm like, it's fine. I don't need to know your friend. I don't remember them. No, you know Canacod. And Dad, it's fine. Okay. You know treatment. I don't know what treatment is. Yeah, you know treatment for the children. You're trying to say Christmas. Yeah, treatment, Canacod, treatment. Oh, Santa Claus. Yeah, Canacod. So you type for Canacod, come get it. So that was my life. When I was about 16, my dad thought it'd be a great time for me to shoot something. So we went, see, that's how Cabela's came in. So typically when I would go hunting with my father, I would drive and he would sit in the passenger seat with the gun. Yeah, we hunted in a car. So I would drive and he would sit in the passenger seat with a gun, and then when we saw a partridge in the road, he would get out and shoot them. But it was my turn. So the only lesson that I had for guns was that you needed to hold it really tight to your shoulder because they kick and it can dislocate your shoulder. And you also need to aim high to clean the head off of the bird to preserve the meat. So we're driving along, And there's like 4 or 5 birds in the road, so I get the gun ready, I get out, and I notice that the birds are like looking at each other, almost as if to say like, we're fine. So I get the gun and I put the bullets in and I cock it or close it, whatever the fuck it's called. I hold it really tight to my shoulder and I put my finger on the trigger and like every good woodsman, I close my eyes and shoot. The fucking gun came up and hit me in my face. I didn't know what to do, so I placed it on the ground and backed away while my father is screaming at me, pick up fucking gun, shoot fucking bar! Why you don't pick up gun? I had had enough at that point, so I went back in the car and continued listening to my Destiny's Child CD, accepting that this was not the lifestyle for me. The birds did get shot though, by my dad. So I'm really excited to be here. In December, I actually had a really major health scare. I had a brain hemorrhage that caused a seizure, so things weren't really good. They're looking good now. I just got diagnosed with like carnivorous harboneris or something. I don't know. My brain tries to kill me whenever it feels like it. The thing that I notice though, when people are like checking in on me, is they think it's appropriate to ask me really inappropriate questions. Like, how's your head? I've never had any complaints. Remember? Grab it by the knot, put it by the... So now when people check in on me, I just cut to the chase. I'm feeling good, no more seizures, and I'm back to sucking dick! Thank you.
Well, let's just keep this comedy cavalcade going. Just like that puts the Paul in Paul Curwin. You guessed it, Paul Curwin!
Brought my notes, don't judge me. Actually, judge me, I kind of like it. Alright, so some of you know me, I think, so, but I haven't seen you guys in a while, so I put my Facebook profile t-shirt on, so I'm actually like this. Hey, you guys remember me and say words like pineapple, but with an Australian accent, it's a boinable. It's like, you just said boinable, and you're just trying to like slide it past me. So you can talk about boinables, it's fine, just like to be more straightforward about it, because I just won't have anything to say back, because I like pineapples, but boinables, no. And then I watch a lot of food shows, so they'll use a lot of French terms. They'll be like amuse-bouche, but then when they say it with their English slant on it, they'll say amuse-bouche. But then I think, okay, amuse-bouche. I think my 5-year-old said that one time when they pointed to like a cow's, nether regions, amuse-bouche. So moving on quickly, because it's my first time doing this, guys. So from words we go to acronyms. Acronyms are a weird thing for me because they're useful to me with my job because there's a lot of stuff that to talk about computers, shorten it out acronyms, but they're secretly frustrating to me because half the time I'm using my brain too much to try and figure out what that person's trying to say. Like there's AF, SMH, shake my head. I'm like, I don't care, just I have time, you have time. Let's just spend some time together. Just say all the words out. I'm fine. Like I'm not going to rush you. You've got me stopped. You're making my brain work more than my. A little anxious. But anyways, just to say that acronyms are weird because it's like once you get into an acronym, then some of them throw some at you that there's an acronym sitting in that acronym. So why do we need Russian nesting doll? Like a Russian nesting doll of. Russian nesting doll? Why do I have problems with that? That was the last one I didn't stammer on, but anyways, a Russian nesting doll of words, and we could just talk this all out and be, more friendly to each other. And I also noticed that companies are starting to use a lot more acronyms too, to fit better onto packaging, whatever. So I noticed that Bath and Body Works, they started using BBW. I was like, oh, BBW, that's great. I've been on the internet for too long for me to think that BBW does not mean Bath and Body Works. So whoever laughed at that joke, look to your side. If they didn't laugh, just tell them what BBW is, because the Google search is not going to be your friend from there. So, on to, there's no segues here, I'm just literally cut. So we're gonna go to reality shows. I love reality shows, but just the competition style ones, not the fakey ones like Bachelor, Bachelorette, because I tend to call those like lie shows. So there's Bachelor, the Bachelorette, Survivor, and then you've also got the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And it's all sprinkled with lies. And like, no, I'd rather do the competition shows where they count down from 10 and then raise their hands. And that gets me excited in a weird way that I probably shouldn't tell you guys about. So we'll just keep moving this train along. So competition shows I watch on TV, but if you don't like watching TV, you could go on YouTube. They got tons of game shows there. You could look up Japanese game shows, and it's a deep hole, but we're going to start on top. So there's one called, I don't know if it gives it away, but it's called Hand Job Karaoke. So it shows the guy singing, then it shows the words next to it, and the girls next to him, hand job karaoke. Like that. And then all of a sudden he's like, his best rendition of Whitney Houston, correct me again, I will always love you? Yeah. See, I screwed that up last night too. Anyways, so you see his face just go like, and then okay, I'm just, next Japanese show. I mean, you knew what happened, you knew what's going to happen, but I mean, hand job karaoke, you just go with it. You know what you're in for, so. No segue, next thing. So I play Candy Crush because I'm a high-strung guy, obviously, and having a hard time breathing, but. So I play Candy Crush. For the past 4 years, I've aggressively crushed candies on my phone. And I know people talk about violence in video games, but I mean, I've been playing this for 4 years, and I haven't wanted to crush a candy in real life. Like, not once I was like, no, I'm good, so I'm proof that you don't feel violent about video games. But there's two things. I'll probably go fast because I'm probably close to my time. Anyways, one thing, Mona. I hate Mona. I should probably let you in on it. She asks me every day for the past 4 years for free life to keep playing her Candy Crush. I sent her one like 2 years ago, no response. So then kind of get depressed about it. And so you scroll through your Facebook, you see these things about toxic relationships. I'm like, I know I'm in one right now with Mona on my Candy Crush. So, but I mean, if I want to keep playing, I gotta keep helping Mona out too. I'm a nice guy, I just can't stop. So, and am I good on time, Nikki? Okay, I'm gonna finish this off. So, I also play with the sound off. I play when it's dark. It can get creepy. The Candy Crush combo stuff, fine, that sounds great. But then there's this guy that speaks up. He goes, sweet, divine, and it's cool. But then it really sounds like the guy that's in front of the truck, in front of the white van that you just got kidnapped in. So, not my thing. So that's it. Thanks for listening to me for a few minutes.
Maritime music. I do. Here's my problem with it. It's too sad. Everything's too like a Sonny's dream, right? Maybe Sonny's dad wouldn't be gone so much if her mother wasn't such a goddamn wet blanket. Sit down, go away, Amy. Oh, God, woman, I want to leave, and I don't even live with you. Folks, your next act Her friends call her Mary from Moncton, which is a good thing because her name's Mary MacDonald. Put your hands together for Mary MacDonald!
So, there we go. Yay! And I'm left-handed, so it's really awkward. So, like Nikki said, my name is Mary MacDonald. Yes, I know. I'm not in the witness protection program or anything. That really is my name. You know, it's like Jane Doe, right? But it was my grandmother's name, so I had to take it. You know, good old Scottish kind of old school East Coast name. Really hated it when I was a kid, though. It's not not good to have such an old lady name when you're like 5 and all your friends are called like Sherry and Karen and cute things like that. Anyway, so being that East Coast Scottish old school person, I've been living outside of the East Coast for most of my adult life, so that's been a little interesting, being the waspiest person I know in every situation where I am. You look up wasp on Google, and there's my blue-eyed, blonde-haired, freckled face. I'm about as white Anglo-Saxon Protestant as you can get. It's kind of good, though, because when I lived in Vancouver, I kind of felt like I was my own ethnic minority. Toronto, too. Then I come home and it's just like, people expect me to be 85 years old when I show up somewhere. So yeah, coming home's definitely been a bit of an adjustment, though. I've been here since last summer or so, but I was most recently living in the Toronto area, and I still act like I'm in Toronto, so, I mean, I'm still kind of a dick. I drive like an asshole. It was good when I still had my Ontario plates on my car, though, because it was kind of like a license to be a jerk. But now that I've been here long enough, I have my New Brunswick plates, and now I just look like an asshole. I'm going to have to start assimilating soon, or y'all are going to kick me out. I'm not sure. So, yeah, so just getting back into the whole vibe on the East Coast has been pretty interesting. The pace of life here is so much slower. I love it. I love it. I feel like I've retired and moved to the rolling, lush green hills with deer running and, I don't know, sailboats. I'm loving it. I'm really happy to be back. And yeah, I've been working in the entertainment industry in Ontario, so this is my first time of being on this side of the stage. I'm usually the person back there yelling at people, so being the person Nikki's pretty nice. She doesn't yell at us very much, just like a little bit. So anyway, it's nice to be here, and thanks for coming out and listening to me. Thank you. Have a good night.
I fucking hate how slow you all are. You're fast on the roads, but oh my God, you make up for it in Sobeys, don't you? It's toothpaste. It's not going to change the price if you stand there staring at it for 45 minutes. Y'all are just going to hate me, but yeah. She hates PEIers. She doesn't call a Sobeys bag a Sobeys bag. What's wrong with her? Get her! I'm just so excited. Everybody's doing really well. You're like my little, like I said to you, like you guys, you're my little baby ducks, and you're like out swimming, and you're swimming, and I'm just so excited. Like I'm legit nervous. I'm like shaking. But you're all doing really, really well, aren't they? Like, they're all really endearing, and like they were so frightened. Our last class was last night, right? And they were so like sick of their act and everything. I was like, trust me, once you're on the stage, you're gonna remember why those things you said were funny in the first place. And you guys you're killing it. You're killing it. I'm so excited. Okay, I'll shut up. All right, we're back. Okay, music. Okay, great. All right, folks. Oh man, this lady is awesome. She's a chef. She's a mom. She's a crafter. She's Kelly Dupuis. Put your hands
No, not squeeze the nut, but anyways.
Well, thank you all for coming. Thank you very much. I mean, it was a free show. Let's not get carried away. So I thought this was a really great experience, and I did think it was going to be a little bit easier. Writing comedy is not that easy at all, especially when you have Nikki Payne screaming at you, "Write some funny shit!" It's not easy. Yeah, but we're doing it. So tomorrow's my 43rd birthday. Not celebrating. Didn't say I was celebrating my birthday. I said I was having a birthday. Yeah, and I'm aware that I do look younger than I am, a little bit, and that's fine. But you can actually tell how old I am by counting the rings on my neck here. 10, 20, right? Like a wise old tree, right? Yeah. It's really, the worst is when I take my 5-year-old son to the park or to a birthday party, and I'm the only, 40-something mom there. All the other mommies are 25. They look great. Yeah, so they're over there, and I'm in the corner knitting, not making eye contact. We have nothing in common. They're worried about their messy buns and their weird manicures. And I'm worried about my adult acne and my pubes turning gray. We can't relate. We have nothing in common. So that's awkward, yeah. So as the older I get, I'm also realizing that I really dislike more and more things, right? I'm mellowing about some things, but there's a lot of things that I'm learning that I don't like my neighbors. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And I'm not a hateful person, but damn, they make it so easy. For example, the guy up the street, he loves to burn forest fires on the weekend. And I swear to God, he's burning shitty diapers. And those babies had them some curry. And then there's the guy on this side. He's great. He sells Christmas trees out of his driveway. It's a residential area. Sell your trees at Canadian Tire like everybody else. Your trees and your lights and your Christmas music, like they're really grinching me out. People come to my door to buy his trees by mistake because we're neighbors, and I say, "Oh, guess what? We're having 100% off sale of trees today. So go ahead and help yourself. Merry Christmas." But wait. The neighbor that I dislike the most has got to be that 8-year-old hussy that lives down the street and her slutty little sisters. Where does an 8-year-old even buy a thong? Like, I swear to God, these kids. They walk by, going to the park. "Hey, boys!" Going to the park. My son thinks they're great. So another thing, I still have some time, so I'll tell you about other stuff that bothers me, seeing as I'm on a roll here. Stupid shit really bothers me. For example, children doing adult things on television, like renovations. That's stupid. Corner Gas coming back as an animated series. That's gonna be stupid. But the stupidest thing of all has got to be the driverless car, a self-driving car. I mean, really? And I read recently that a driverless Uber killed somebody. Yeah, no shit. I told them that was gonna happen. They did it. Uber, don't do it. They did it anyway. So I'm a chef. I'm actually a chef by trade. And I could tell you some really good stories about the industry, but this is a comedy show, not a show about substance abuse, rampant sexual harassment, and suicide. So we'll leave it out. It doesn't always end in suicide. I made it out. I'm now what we call a work-from-home mom. Don't get it twisted. I'm not a stay-at-home mom. That's derogatory, okay? I'm a work-from-home mom. That's what we like to call it these days, right, ladies? Yeah. Because trolling Twitter and Instagram all day is a great full-time job. Yeah. I might want to start cooking again, I think. So, I have to look at my paper. Yeah. So the last thing that I wanted to tell you guys about was just about a job that I find fascinating other than my own. I do find radio disc jockeys to be quite fascinating. I always have. I don't really understand radio, so won't get into that. Waves and sound, like it's a lot for me, but I was always fascinated with disc jockeys. Started with Dr. Johnny Fever, right? I'm telling my age now, right? For example, we just had a contest on one of our local radio stations, and the grand prize was an all-expense paid trip for two to Toronto, concert tickets, spending money, or you could take $3,000 cash. Well, the most recent winner, she decided to take the cash. And my question is, do the disc jockeys then have to call the artist or let the artist know that the winner took the cash? Like, yeah, Ed Sheeran? Yeah, she took the money. Yeah, Debbie took the cash. Yeah. I know it's so awkward. I'm really sorry. Have a good show. Okay. Does that ever happen? Well, that's me. Thanks again. Have a good night.
Earlier, our partners, I think that means they're having sex. You're not science fair partners, I don't think. They gave me a lovely little present just before the show started. It's a crocheted F-bomb. Because I'm filthy. I do. I should have my mouth washed out with soap. I swear to you, I don't mean to, but then I get excited. And I have a lisp, and the F word has like none of the letters that I can't say in it. I do. I have a lisp. As Kelly so sweetly pointed out. I do remember like when like back before the internet was like huge. I see some gray out there. So some people don't remember that. Remember when you used to have to like call like places and like there was like voice messaging stuff, right? Like, you know, like, or even like when even now, like with my car, I have like the Bluetooth or whatever, the magic. Like somehow I get into the car and my cell phone suddenly like melds with my fucking car. I don't know how it happens, but it does. And so like you have to program people's phone numbers into it, right? So you press it and they're like, something system, whatever, right? And the lady's like, who would you like to enter into the address book or whatever the fuck she says. She says it better than me. Can you imagine if it was my voice? Who the fuck do you want to call? I was trying to program it, right? But I forget that I have a list, right? And so, like, because to me I sound normal. Like, it's not until I see, like, a spit in the light that I'm like, oh man, I'm juicy right now. So, like, you know, like, I'm like, Sandra. And she's like, I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Sandra. I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Sandra! So now all of my things, like when I can't just like say it, I have to, because it repeats it back to you, right? So like, you know, like if you want to call mom, right? Call mom, right? And they'll be like, you want to call mom, is that correct? Mine are all angry because it took like 5 fucking times for me to get it through. So, and I have to say them that way too for it to recognize. So like, I'm like, call Sandra, for fuck's sake! Did you want to call Sandra? Yes. But are you having a good time? Excellent. Then I'm going to take my little F-bomb and be on my way. Your next comedian comes all the way from the West End of Moncton. Put your hands together for the fantastic Steve
Thanks a lot. A little bit about me right off the bat. I'm a dad. I have 2 daughters, 2 beautiful little innocent daughters. They're not here tonight for obvious reasons. I don't want to mention any names, but you know, Dylan, Paul, Nikki, pretty much everyone who was up here before me. But no, the kids are great. The kids they're so, just great all around. They're doing well in school, doing well with their friends, they're in sports. They're actually really, really athletic, which is kind of surprising, considering the poor genetics they started out with. But they're in trampoline, they're in taekwondo, they can do backflips, they can do spin kicks, they can do pretty much any physical maneuver you throw at them, they can handle. Now me, on the other hand, I have a hard time these days standing in the shower with my eyes closed. So it's a little different. But it's true what they say about the kids. You see them growing in front of your eyes, becoming young women in the prime of their lives. It's so amazing. It's exactly amazing what they say about it. But it's, let's just say they're growing in one way, and I'm kind of growing older in another way. They're approaching their prime. Everything is positive. They're going like up every day. It's better. Me, it's like same. Worse. So it's complicated, is what I'm trying to say. I love being a dad, but it's a little complicated. I have mixed feelings. It's hard to explain it, but it's a little bit like when you sit on a warm seat in a public toilet. It feels good. It's nice at first, until you think about the big picture. It's like, But again, I don't want to be too dramatic, too negative. Things are actually pretty good at home. Again, I mentioned my daughters. I have my daughter, my wife, myself. It's actually a really interesting dynamic at home. I have, so basically, in a nutshell, I live with 2 young women and 1 woman of the perfect, exact, ideal age, who's magical and lovely in every possible way. What do you guys think I was going to say? Hey, settle down. But no, it's all good. You hear about relationships, about ups and downs, and the romance and all that stuff, but for me, the biggest thing, being in a long-term relationship, it's the educational component. Like, my wife teaches me a new thing almost every day. For example, did you know, apparently it turns out, saran wrap does not have a sticky side. I thought for 30 years, one side was sticky, and one side was not. I had no idea. I thought top was sticky, bottom not sticky. It could have saved me a lot of time, making lunches and all that. But another thing, just the other day, we were doing laundry. We were down in the basement, my wife and I doing laundry together. And it turns out, you know that dryer thing? The little dryer filter lint thingy? Apparently, you're supposed to change that every time. Every time. I don't have time for that. That's way more than my usual schedule of, when I happen to think of it. So I heard this and I thought, oh, great. I don't have time for this. I'm a busy guy. I got stuff to do. I've got Facebook to update. I've got my imaginary comedy career to pursue. I've got stuff going on. I don't have time to be doing this dryer thing every day. So I was a little annoyed. But then I thought about it. I thought, wait a minute. If my wife changes it every day, and I change it, say, never, between the 2 of us, it's getting changed half the time. 50% of the time. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Really, what's the worst that can happen? Except for a horrible, fiery death for me and everyone I care about. No, I don't know if I really thought this through all the way. I'm going to go back and think about this more, and you guys enjoy the rest of the show. Thanks.
As I was just saying, everybody's sticking to their time, and I'm very happy because I got to give them don't go over your time. I threaten. I threaten, and then I feel guilty because I'm not this hard woman that I pretend to be on stage, right? So last night I was like, you guys better stick to your time because if you go over your time, I'm gonna cut off the mic. I was full of shit. And then I laid awake all night going, I was too hard on them. Oh, I'm such a pushover. Now the last three will do like 20 minutes each. Folks, we got 3 more acts. Keep your energy up. They are amazing. This fella, he is just delightful. He wanted me to say. I said I was going to say it, so I'm going to say it. He was nice to people while he was alive. Put your hands together.
Well, what Nikki was being nice and not saying that you're really fortunate that I was able to take the class. Because before that, I was coming up with things that are a little on the abstract side. Like changing a joke from third person to first person, and so there on the hospital bed up in traction, you've got the chicken going, why did I cross the road? Or asking the question, which came first, the fireman's red suspenders or the fireman's tapeworm? I have a fan already. Those were the things that I thought about when I was driving until I got my Volkswagen, which I now consider to be the Fisher-Price toy for adults. You've got knobs, you've got switches, you've got dials, things buzz, things bing, things ding. It's great. And of course, with all that attention, since I'm not Steve, I ended up with a relationship with my car. And it went really well for a couple of months. And then, like most guys, I started taking it for granted. Cold day, I hop in, on goes the heat. Heated seat goes up to 5. Radio's on. The entire dash is covered with gadgets that I'm charging. Do that for the whole day, lots of short trips. And then as I get home, I hop out and pretend I don't hear that furtive little ding as I shut the door and go inside because it's too damn cold. And I come out the next morning to see headlights. Headlights which used to greet me warmly, now dimming with hatred and betrayal. You get into that point where you start thinking about begging and pleading. So I'm making an offer and turning the key like I'm hoping it's the loosest slot in Vegas. A new battery blanket. Woo. I'll never drive you in a storm again. Woo. Headlight eyelashes. Why did I pick that one? But anyhow, I've been given another chance. We're not going to be a special episode of Dr. Phil. So here I am going down the street. And all of a sudden, there's a billboard with 2 of my favorite words on it. Free oatmeal. With an address underneath. No, I love oatmeal. Some of you, upon seeing something like that, would have a similar reaction to finding out that the PTA has allowed the free candy van to park out front of your children's school. But for me, it's an adventure. It's a quest for the oatmeal feast. So I drive to the address, hop out of the car, rush across the street into what I'm hoping is going to be the oatmeal feast of the century. But as I get inside, I realize I may have made a bad decision. Because this is not Mama's Oatmeal Palace or Bob's Oatmeal Shack. This is an artisanal oatmealery. And their idea of good dishes all across the wall. Don't be gruel. Porridge, the other white meal. And for those who like it savory, you can have your oatmeal with a cuillère of Gruyere. So I'm really starting to get the vibe that this isn't the place for me, scoping the distance to the exit. When I hear the person in front of me order, and they say that they want a 2-handed double spurt with a sticky finish, suddenly I start to wonder about that until I discover that just means you had somebody using 2 spurtles at the same time to stir the oatmeal. Spurtles, those wooden sticks, especially for stirring oatmeal. You know, the lazy kid shop project. Oh, and the sticky finish? Maple syrup. So at that point, I realized this is not the place for me. I shake my head no to the server, start walking out, ignoring the withering glance of the oatmealista who just got his double spurt. And I walk out the door just in time to see the lights die on the Volkswagen that I ignored to go to my oatmeal feast. And I'm left there by myself, looking up going, why did I cross the road? Thank you.
So for me, stand-up's like sex. You know, you're really, really excited beforehand, but at the end, you know, everybody's usually disappointed. So I read a book recently from Agatha Christie, or recently. I read a book when I was 10. I make a joke about it now. It's called And Then There Were None. That book changed names a couple times. It used to be called The 10 Mil N-Words. Then they changed it, you know, because it's offensive a little bit. Change it to The 10 Little Indians. Still offensive a little bit. Let's change it to And Then There Were None. I read that book at 10 years old, but in French, they don't change titles. Still the original title. Then I started wondering, why would she name it that? This is a famous, world-known author. She has 300,000 words that she can choose from. Yeah, let's name it N-word. I watch Family Feud too now. Family Feud changed hosts, so I love the old host. The new host, Steve Harvey, love him as well. Except he gets a little bit. He makes me mad when there's a question with sexual undertone, and there's always at least one. So they ask a question like, we asked 100 men what part of their body did they think was the biggest. The first guy's going to say his belly, right? Because he wants his family to start answering. But one of the men is going to say penis. So Steve always has the same exact reaction when somebody says something like, oh, a little risque. It's like, oh, no! Did he say penis? Oh my God, I go to church. It's number 2, Steve. It's right in there. They do the same thing with Fast Money. Fast Money, he angers me a little bit because we asked 100 people, what month does Santa Claus visit? December. Oh, it's got 98. It's like, December was the number 1 answer. Yeah, no shit, Steve. It's got 98. And who the fuck didn't say December? Christmas in July. There's no Christmas in July. But I wanted to be a stand-up comedian for a while, but I didn't always want to be a stand-up comedian. I used to want to be an actor. I act now. I act surprised when my wife finds somebody else's panties underneath my bed. So I'm in couples therapy now. Couples therapy, I'm in couples therapy, but don't worry about my marriage, I'm sure it's gonna last forever, until my free sessions run out. It's expensive. We have arguments, and it's hard to know. Like, every time I go to couples therapy, they try to pinpoint what the problem is. And the therapist thinks he knows what the problem is, because everybody goes there for some of the same reasons. So he's like, is anybody unfaithful? I'm like, no, that's just a joke. I wasn't really unfaithful. And then, like, well, is there abuse in the relationship? No, there's no abuse. It's like, well, what's the problem? The problem is, whenever I want to buy fucking Tostitos, my wife wants to buy the organic kind. And I just can't take it anymore. It's like, what? I'm like, no, you don't understand. We can't agree on anything at all. I like Pepsi. She likes Coke, She likes long walks on the beach. I like to watch movies. Everything is different. But when we finally agree on something, we think it's going to be fine. Like, she calls me up at work and says, hey, honey, what do you want to eat for supper? spaghetti. Great, spaghetti. I love spaghetti. Let's make spaghetti. I get home, spaghetti squash. It's not the same. We agreed to do a marathon together. My wife said, hey, let's train together, let's do a marathon. We can run together, you know, talk while we're running. It'll bring us closer together. I'm like, great, it sounds like a great idea. And then I said, well, there's one in Cushibaguac, right? There's one, it's $50, Cushibaguac, it's a great place. She looked at me like I had 3 eyes. She was like, Cushibaguac? I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, where were you thinking? Well, she was like, I was thinking Paris. Thinking Paris? It's like $5,000. But couples therapy is hard as well because they give you questionnaires. There's a questionnaire with 40 different questions. They all start like fill in the blanks at the end. So sometimes at night, when I'm alone, my parents think that we should with a blank. So you just got to fill everything up. I mean, they don't score couples therapy, but if they would, I'd be losing. But my wife answers what everybody expects. And sometimes late at night, I cry myself to sleep. When I'm alone, I worry about my marriage. My parents think that we should, separate because he makes me unhappy. And I get sad when she says that, but then the therapist asks me, what did you write? I was like, oh, I wrote the same thing for every question. Well, what did you write? Well, I wrote masturbate. Sometimes at night. But when I'm alone, I don't know if my parents think that we should, but we definitely are. That's it for me. Thank you very much.
Is his wife in the audience? Because I heard one person going, I go like a family joke. I was like, I bet you that's his wife. So, laugh it up, Cormier! Laugh it up! Oh, folks, we are down to your final act. What can I say about this student? Everybody knows. Oh, David had a way of doing his homework in that he never did it. This has been an ongoing joke with our class. I swear to God, I don't know what he's going to do tonight. And I'm not sure if he does either. Please put your hands together for your final act, David West!
Well, thanks, Nikki. Oh my God, I almost grabbed my wife and said, let's get the hell out of here. I'm just going to find out I didn't do my homework. Oh my word. I've been trying to, I've just had this thought, it just hit me that I feel like I'm in grade 5 and I'm just presenting my science project for whatever reason. And I saw it the night before I said to my Mom, just get the science solar system kit, whatever it is, and she shows up. I didn't even know what it was. I just showed up the next day for the class, and I got the thing in front of me, and I thought, well, I better pull it out. Everyone else had, the full package of the solar system. Mine was just a white Bristol board with the white styrofoam balls, which really pops. So I stand up in front of the class. Actually, I was putting the project together as I was walking up to the class. And then I'm acting like, well, I just got to get this thing ironed out here. So I go behind the desk and I start drawing the circles because I noticed everyone had the, what do you call them, the planetary, it's all bullshit, but So I put it all together. It was pretty obvious that I did that. Then I started going through the list and I'm pulling the what do you call it, planets out of the bag. So I start putting them out and I'm putting them up on the thing. When I'm trying to hold it up next, I got my leg up there trying to get the thing because it's all rolling up on me. Like, this is Mercury. It goes right here. And I put it back. This one here, and I'm putting that one out. Of course, Venus is the same fucking size as Mercury. There we go. Okay. Then my mom only bought 4 balls. Like, and they were all the same size. I don't know. I got a twin brother. I think she just thought, you know what? We're not putting any effort into that guy at all. Fuck him. He was fucking up from the beginning. Put everything into my brother. He's the accountant. Like, we need another accountant out there. The world wouldn't survive without him. Oh my god. So I've been trying to get out of the house lately. So I joined a writing group. And they handed me a form. And I thought, you haven't filled out a form in 25 years. In fact, you haven't even written anything in 25 years. I think it was a skill that you lost. And I looked, I don't know, I think Nikki's looking at me, oh, you should have done your fucking homework. That's why you didn't do your fucking homework, Dave. This is why you're a big fuck up. You're talking like my mother now. Anyways, so I'm going through this form, I'm struggling through this form, right? And the lady keeps saying, what the fuck did you say again? It's right there. Did you finish filling out the form yet? Did you finish the fucking form yet? I didn't mean the F-bomb, I swear. It wasn't scripted, it just came out. So anyways, no, I didn't finish the form, lady. You have no idea the level of stress that I'm under right now filling out this damn form. My wife always does this. Please, give it a rest. You'd lucky to get it back tonight. And I look back at the work that I done on the form. It actually looked like it was done by somebody who was in a serious motor vehicle accident, who was slowly learning to rehabilitate all of the motor functions again. I don't know, I think this is my wife's doing though. I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, she's amazing. She's one of the people that just does everything for me all the time. Anytime a form's handed my way, she just comes in and be like, oh, for God's sakes, I'll do that. You I'm here all day with you doing that. What do you think, for God's sakes? Look at you, you're barely literate, for God's sakes. What's the matter with you? It's everything you do to stand there and look like an idiot. What were you thinking? What were you thinking? She's awesome. And then it occurs to me, oh my God, is my wife trying to disable me? I don't know. I think this is something women do, so that you never leave them. I don't know. And then it hits me, you know. So, what the fuck, it'd be... He was going so good, but he just didn't do his fucking homework. Nikki's like, oh, you're set to fuck up. No, it's okay. It's okay. You know what? We're gonna roll with this. We're gonna roll. You know what he's doing? He's actually doing that thing in his brain where he's just like, oh, that was a fuck up. Why did you fuck up? Okay, now we're just ripping that apart or pulling out the next one. No, stick with me. Don't go anywhere. We're gonna hang out with this one. Fuck, it's my first. It's amateur night. It's just that everybody did really good tonight. Okay? Jesus Christ. I got no train of thought. I'm an adult with ADD. Holy God. You know what it's like having ADD? Could they conjure up something worse? Having this attention deficit disorder. Holy God. Am I gonna live? ADD, ADHD. It's like a kid's disease, but you're an adult with it. So when you hit adult, you're supposed to actually be able to focus for some reason. Like suddenly you're 18 and it's like, no, can't focus. Got zero attention span, still hyperactive. I don't know what's going on. What's going on? I told you to stick around. Thanks, no one left. That's great. Don't even go to the washroom. It hurts my feelings. Oh my word. Where was I going with that other joke? It was so good too. I think I would have been impressed. Now she's looking at me. No, you just never work. You fucked my class up every time. I was trying to run a class and every time you just disturbed the class. You didn't even do your homework. And you fucked my class up. She see my report card. It was pretty much, that's what it was. Spent the whole time in the corner. That's what happens. No, my brother, he, fucking brother. And I don't even think we're twins, honestly. You should see the guy. Jeez. Actually, he's not even here to say the joke. If I'm going to insult him, I want to do it right to his face. Oh, we're re-filmed it. Roll this later. The joke is, I came up first, and he looked like a piece of shit. Like, we didn't even know we were having twins. It was a story, and I always say, the doctor was so shocked that the afterbirth came out first. Oh, my God. Then he looked at it again. Wait a minute. That's not an afterbirth. If you kind of move it around, holy fuck, that's a human. My God. Oh my word. I wish I could get my brain back to that original joke. You guys would have loved it. Sorry, Nikki. I just don't do my homework. Oh, fuck. You guys heard that, didn't you? Oh my God, I had a great little finisher for you. She wrap it up. I started, well, I don't like getting older, Ben. She's gonna be, oh, fuck off. Set that fucking mic off. Jesus. What am I at anyways? Am I past 5? What, did she stop me like right at 5, for God's sakes? All right. Okay, anyways, I just want to say that it was a fantastic experience meeting all these great comedians. But that wasn't even a joke, Nikki. I actually meant that from the heart. And I was going to say something nice about you at this point. Like, Nikki was fantastic. What more can I say? Nikki's Nikki. I'm putting this on the resume just so you know I've been a stay-at-home dad for 18 years. I have got nothing. I don't even know what I put. If anyone's hiring, I swear to God, I'll do anything. Not like the kids today. I'll actually work. Okay, anyway, I know I got it, yes. Okay, wrap it up. Thank you so much. Thank you all for coming.
I'm laughing, but I'm like, part of me's going, don't laugh at him, you're encouraging him. You're encouraging bad behavior. Folks, you have been an amazing audience. You were delightful and wonderful. Let's put our hands together for yourselves. Let's keep it going for the Capitol Theater and Hubcap Productions. You'll have put all this together so I could teach some nonsense to our fellows. And let's bring it together for our 9 wonderful students.